Rook Exodus #1 from Image Comics sends readers to the distant future world of Exodus, where wardens control the animals, but a system failure pits humans against humans and beasts. We have the review right here. See you in 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Rook Exodus #1 from Image Comics. But before we get started, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. Your attention is greatly appreciated. Make sure you stay tuned to the end for the final score. But before we dig in, let's talk about the credits. Rook Exodus #1 is written by Jeff Johns, art by Jason Fabok, colors by Brad Anderson, letters by Rob Lay, and the main cover, cover A, and also cover D, are drawn by Jason Fabok with colors by Brad Anderson. Okay, let's jump into the story. Rook Exodus is the third of 3 brand new #1s from Ghost Machine, which is the new creator-owned imprint, headed up by Jeff Johns and a whole host of relatively well-known creators. The story takes place in the year 2173, where people who are fleeing Earth due to ecological disasters, natural devastation, overcrowding, overpollution, starvation, atmospheric devastation of crops, etc., are fleeing to a new planet to colonize it and to essentially go for a fresh start. On this planet called Exodus, they have this thing called wardens, where individuals are given these helmets. And the helmets have the ability to control a particular species of animal that has been transplanted and bioengineered on this planet called Exodus. Some individuals have the helmet that can control birds. One particular warden might have a helmet that controls feral hogs and pigs. Another individual might have a helmet that controls wolves. Another one might have a helmet that controls bears, etc., etc. And they use these helmets to control the animals to help shape and control how the planet is terraformed, so they can help the animals to control populations for cattle and use the birds to help spread pollination, to do all kinds of things that helps this planet grow and prosper into becoming essentially a second Earth. Sometime within the short span before this story takes place, the World Engine, which is the central AI that controls the neural networks and controls all the technology and all that automation of Exodus, fails. We don't get any of the details about how it failed or why, or what is the root cause of all this destruction. But by the engine failing, all the systems on the planet start to break down. All the people that can hop in their spaceships and begin to flee either back to Earth or to some other colony. And by the time we pick up with this story, very few people are left behind. Most of the people that are left are wardens who have the ability to control the animals with these specialized helmets. The main character of the story is a gentleman by the name of Rook, and his helmet allows him to control birds, mostly crows or raven type birds that are resident on this planet. And the surviving wardens try to band together to help each other out in various ways. But some of the wardens are untrustworthy and are willing to backstab you to get precious resources that are left as the planet slowly begins to die, and the neural networks that control all the automated systems and the neural networks that allow the rooks to control the animals start to fall apart. So it's very much of a sort of an end of days or end of world type scenario. When we pick up with Rook, he is scavenging cities and warehousing installations and any kind of broken down spaceships, broken down vehicles, looking for parts so he can build his own spaceship with the intention of launching, taking off, and eventually heading back to Earth. When he's scavenging a recent attempt at a rocket launch from some other warden or some other group of people that didn't make it into the atmosphere and crashed down, Rook is scavenging for parts when he is attacked by a giant bear. What we find out is after the World Engine died, some of the animals that were transplanted to the planet due to the atmospheric conditions and the types of artificial water and artificial food that were implanted on this world called Exodus, some of them grow huge, as in 4, 5, 6 times what the normal size should be for an animal, and he's attacked by a bear that stands 20, 30 feet high. He manages to survive by calling in the birds and attacking the bear's eyes and driving it off, but the damage is done. And so he heads back to an abandoned city where he is effectively the only resident that's left, scavenging for food, scavenging for parts. But he knows that the planet is dying and he doesn't have much time left. So he contacts a fellow warden, a gentleman whose code name is Swine, who can control hogs and feral pigs. And they have last night of drinks. They decide that they're going to just party up for one last night before he tries to complete his rocket and head home. And then when he gets back to his city to kind of do some late night work, he winds up making a mistake that creates a small explosion that knocks him out. And we see through his dreams in a flashback how he grew up on a farm with his father, how the problems of the world started to escalate, and how he took the offer from the company which funds everything called Better World, and how he took that offer to head to Exodus to start a new life. When he wakes up, he says, "Oh, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have drank too much, and I shouldn't have damaged my ship. I've known better, but we definitely got to get out of here because this planet is falling apart." So he leaves his city, goes back to find Swine so that the two of them can get in a rocket and take off together. But he finds Swine's base camp has been attacked. And when he starts looking for Swine, we see at a distance anyway that Swine is running with his feral hogs under control, and they're trying to escape a large pack of gigantic bears. And the bears are being controlled by a fellow warden who happens to be a scavenger and an enemy of anybody who doesn't give him what he wants, by a warden called Ursal. And that's where we end the issue, with Swine being crushed by a giant bear and Ursal coming in for the attack. What do we like about Rook Exodus #1? The story is very creative. It's imaginative. It gives you that sort of survivalist post-apocalyptic feel where you have a small group of individuals that will either ally with each other or be enemies of each other. It has a sort of a Survivor Island kind of feel, but because it's set in the future and on a distant colony, the landscape that you have to play with feels much bigger. Plus the idea of these individuals being wardens with these helmets that allow them to control a particular species of animal is new. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that before. So now you have this potential where you have this potential idea where you created like clans or tribes, where you have the wolf tribe going up against the bear tribe, going up against the crow tribe, and et cetera, et cetera. So you created sort of this mythology and this very primal type of territorial fighting and potential for war. But because it's set on an alien world in the distant future with distant technology, it gives it a strange sort of sci-fi bent. So it's sort of almost a mix of mythological and science at the same time. So it's a very unique and a very creative concept. And Jeff Johns really nails the idea of sort of hopelessness and despair, and just one or few people banding together just to survive nature and man at the same time. It also almost has a Walking Dead type of vibe, where it's just a few survivors banding together to survive a much bigger problem. But sometimes the problem isn't just the animals; it's also the people who are out for themselves, creating trouble. What didn't we like about Rook Exodus #1? The concept is original, but the details are missing. A lot of details are missing, which kind of makes it a little bit hard to get into because you don't understand how things happen. What is the world engine? Why did it fail? Why did they create this concept of wardens in the first place? I mean, what is the value add of certain individuals having control of crows or ravens, for example? What is the value benefit in doing that? It looks cool, and when you see it happening, it's kind of awesome, to be honest with you. But why? What is the purpose of doing that? Why would you need somebody to control a large herd of bears? What is the value in doing that? So you have a lot of questions about why was the world built the way it was? What was the reasoning behind it, and what is the motivation for the company that set all this up, the company called Better World? What was the purpose of doing all that? So you're having a little bit of a struggle trying to get into the world. In execution, as it's happening, you're kind of just going along with it, and so it kind of looks cool from the from the atmosphere and the vibe and the action that's taking place. But you're sort of in a world that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense because there are just so many open questions about why things are the way they are. And so you're trying to get into it, but at the same time, your mind is distracted by why would you do it that way? Why are there, why are people in, why did they create try to terraform a world with everything that's artificial? Could they not, you have so many open questions that you get distracted because you're trying to figure that out while trying to place it within the context of the world as it's happening. And so there's nothing wrong with having open questions, but when you get too many, it gets to be a distraction. Let's switch gears over to the art. I mean, this is Jason Fabok, and of course, this looks fantastic. There is so much detail on these pages. Every individual page is a work of art. It looks fantastic, phenomenal, especially when you have large packs of animals that have fur and hair, and you can see every single one of them. I mean, this must have taken forever to draw for Jason Fabok, but I mean, I don't know how long it actually took, but regardless, every page is just beautiful. I mean, literally a work of art. Fantastic. So if you're looking for an artist to draw your comic book, you almost can't do better than Jason Fabok. Final thoughts. What do we think about Rook Exodus #1 from Image Comics and Ghost Machine? Very creative concept, great gripping drama and storytelling, and you definitely get the sense of end of the world vibes and hopelessness as one or a few people trying to survive against overwhelming assaults by both bad people and nature. So that all works together. Plus the art from Jason Fabok is immaculate. It's pristine and beautiful. The one downside of the issue is that there are a lot of open questions about why the world that has been created by the company is the way it is. The concepts are creative, but they don't make a whole lot of sense, or at least they don't make a whole lot of sense yet. So you're constantly distracted by all these open loop questions, trying to make sense of why things are the way they are, and it just needs a lot more explanation for you to get into the world because you're constantly being distracted by not understanding why the world is the way it is. Therefore, we're going to give Rook Exodus #1 from Image Comics and Ghost Machine a solid 8.5 out of 10. What do you think about future sci-fi stories? Do you like sci-fi comics, or do you prefer more of the superhero type, or do you prefer another genre? Let us know in the comment section. Otherwise, please stay tuned through the outro for the next review.